You were taught to measure intelligence with numbers because numbers are easy to control. Grades, rankings, certificates, symbols that give the illusion of order. But none of these determine who commands and who obeys. They determine only who complies well. True intelligence has always been something more dangerous. It is not memory. It is not politeness. It is not how well you perform inside a system designed by others. True intelligence is the capacity to survive uncertainty, to bend chaos into advantage, and to act decisively while others hesitate. As Machiavelli observed, men are judged more by outcomes than intentions, and the world rewards effectiveness, not virtue. History is not shaped by those who appear intelligent, but by those who understand power. Most people never notice this because they are born into a script and die reciting it. They believe their thoughts are their own. They believe their choices are free. They believe the world is fair, rational, and governed by rules that apply equally. This belief is not innocence. It is anesthesia. There exists a hierarchy not of wealth or status, but of awareness. A ladder of intelligence that determines whether you are an actor in history or merely scenery. The majority never climb. They remain at the base, living and dying within invisible constraints they never question. Machiavelli wrote that men in general judge more by the eye than by the hand, because everyone can see, but few can feel. This hierarchy is unseen precisely because it governs those who cannot feel it. There are 7 levels. Each level represents not an accumulation of knowledge, but a shedding of illusion. Each ascent requires the death of a comforting belief, and each level becomes progressively lonelier, colder, and more powerful. Once you recognize this structure, you cannot return to ignorance. You will see patterns in conversations. You will notice who reacts and who initiates. You will recognize who speaks from conditioning and who speaks from intent. This is not motivational fantasy. It is an uncomfortable mirror, and the first reflection is the most crowded of all. Level 1 is the sleeper. The sleeper is not foolish in the academic sense. He may be educated, credentialed, even admired, but psychologically, he is passive. His intelligence is reactive. He does not choose. He responds. His beliefs are inherited. His opinions are borrowed. His outrage is scheduled. When authority speaks, he listens. When consensus shifts, he follows. He mistakes obedience for morality and comfort for truth. Machiavelli warned that those who live only by necessity are easily deceived because they prefer reassurance to reality. The sleeper fears autonomy more than oppression. Freedom demands responsibility, and responsibility demands courage. This is why the sleeper seeks leaders, trends, ideologies, anything that relieves him of the burden of thought. Above him is level 2, the mimic. The mimic has sensed that the world is not what it claims to be. He realizes that intelligence confers status, but instead of cultivating understanding, he performs it. He collects language, not insight, credentials, not competence. He quotes thinkers he has never wrestled with. He adopts causes to signal virtue, not to pursue truth. Intelligence becomes costume, not capacity. Machiavelli spoke of men who mistake the appearance of virtue for virtue itself. The mimic is trapped in that illusion. He believes that sounding intelligent is the same as being intelligent. This level is seductive because it feels like awakening. The mimic looks down on the sleeper and mistakes disdain for superiority. But when challenged with novelty, true uncertainty, he collapses. He can repeat, but he cannot create. The mimic is governed by validation. Disagreement feels like threat. Questions feel like attack. His identity is brittle. Most people oscillate between these 2 levels for life, but some grow tired of performance. And when validation loses its flavor, calculation begins. Level 3 is where intelligence becomes functional. The calculator no longer cares about appearing virtuous or intelligent. He cares about outcomes. He observes incentives. He studies behavior. He recognizes that rules are not sacred. They are negotiated. This is the domain of the fox. Machiavelli wrote that one must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. At this level, the fox awakens. The calculator sees systems as games and people as players governed by fear, reward, and habit. He advances not by effort alone, but by positioning. He understands timing, silence, leverage. He asks not what is right, but what works. This makes him effective and isolated, because once you see the transactional nature of human behavior, innocence is lost. Trust becomes conditional. Relationships become strategic. The calculator assumes others think as he does, and therefore trusts no one. This is the ceiling for many ambitious people. They acquire money, status, influence, yet remain internally restless, always scanning, always maneuvering, always reacting to a system they did not design. They win games they did not choose. To rise further requires something calculation alone cannot provide. It requires will. The operator does not merely navigate the board. He moves it. This is the lion. Where the calculator avoids conflict, the operator absorbs it. Where the fox hides, the lion advances. Intelligence at this level becomes generative, capable of imposing order through action. Machiavelli was explicit. It is better to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. The operator understands that leadership demands burden, decisions, sacrifice, visibility. People follow the operator not because he persuades, but because he acts. Yet the lion pays a price. Force creates resistance. Presence attracts enemies. Power tied to energy is fragile. The operator must constantly perform strength or risk collapse. He becomes indispensable and therefore trapped. He believes himself sovereign yet remains bound to effort, to image, to momentum. True power has not yet appeared, because the most effective control is not force. It is invisibility. Level 5 is the puppeteer. The puppeteer abandons command and adopts influence. He understands that direct control creates friction, but desire creates compliance. He shapes narratives, incentives, environments. He does not push. He arranges. Machiavelli wrote that men see what you appear to be, but few know what you are. The puppeteer lives inside that gap. He uses intermediaries. He lets others believe they act freely, but prolonged manipulation fractures identity. Masks multiply, detachment grows, power increases while connection decays. Above even this stands level 6, the architect. The architect no longer manipulates people. He designs systems, institutions, platforms, ideologies, structures that govern behavior automatically. He thinks in decades, in second and third order consequences. While others fight within the arena, he owns the arena. This is rare intelligence, historical intelligence, yet even here attachment remains. And attachment is vulnerability. The final level is subtraction, the void. This intelligence is not dominance, influence, or legacy. It is internal sovereignty, total detachment from outcome, freedom from desire. Machiavelli spoke of fortuna, chaos, and will. The highest mastery is alignment, not resistance. The void cannot be threatened, bribed, or manipulated, because nothing external defines him. He can descend into any role, fox, lion, architect, and leave it without residue. He is not nihilistic, he is precise. This is not the intelligence of conquest, but of clarity, and it is the rarest state of all. Now the mirror stands before you, not where you wish to be, but where you are, because the most expensive lie is the one you tell yourself, and intelligence begins the moment illusion ends.